Well, hello, good evening, welcome to Rangersradio. Join myself, Oxchair, on the show. Is there Linda? How are we doing, Linda?
Evening, Oxchair. Evening, everyone. I hope you're all keeping well.
How are you? I spoke to you since last week's game. It was a wee bit after the Lord Mayor's show, but we got a result, Linda.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were all expecting probably a much better performance, Ox, because of what happened against Hearts. But this was a totally different game, as we know it would have been, because obviously, they're playing a kind of low block, that so-called low block, and defending. Although we've got to give Ross County credit, they played well, but we found a way to win, and that was the main thing. I
think there's a bit of nostalgia, a bit of rose-coloured glasses, blue-coloured glasses, whatever you like. But historically, every team doesn't play well every week. That's a myth. It doesn't matter if you're playing opposition you should be. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, and we'd all be millionaires because it'd be a doddle to get a coup knock, Linda. Well, even for Southside, I suppose.
I know, Ox, and I think it's just because of the way the season started and the way that we've been performing, and we didn't get the results. And I think we're all waiting for this slip up where we'll maybe drop points. But I think if we were top of the league and everything was hunky-dory in that department, we would be quite happy, because you've got to find a way to grind out results. And when it comes to this part of the season, Ox, it's just about winning. But we're looking for a bit of form as well, I think, because we've not really had it for any sustained period, I think.
Talking about somebody who's always on form, but John Beale, evening, Albert.
Evening, mate. How are you? How are you, Linda?
I'm very well, Albert. Nice to hear from you.
I just been listening to what you've been saying there about the low block. It's true, and we've said it all along. It's this low block. But what I think what's really getting to everybody is the fact that we're leaving ourselves vulnerable in games. That's the point. Everybody said it.
Yeah.
Aye. No, you're not going to get games you're going to be vulnerable late on. That's just going to be the way it's going to be. But it seems to be every game, isn't it? And that's the thing that's really annoying everybody, because it's every single game. It was the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes every game. If a team can score early against us and then hang on, and if they can't do that, stay in the game to the last 80 minutes, the last 10 minutes, and then have a go. So we're all sick of watching this. It'll happen sometimes, but no all the time, and it just seems to happen all the time with every team now. So we're getting sick of it. That's the big complaint I've got.
Does it happen with Dundee United?
Well, Hearts is a different one. Dundee United, and the exceptions are there, but they should be an exception to the rule that we're nervous in some games.
Has that ever happened, Albert? Has that ever happened? Have we ever consistently? Have we ever consistently blown teams away? We maybe talk about the Walter Smith era 9 in a row. Have you Jock Wallace's team, Souness's team? They never blew teams away every week.
But we never felt this nervous. Every game we feel nervous. Game we feel nervous. Aye, but I think it's a lack of the amount of games. The percentage is too high going towards the tweaky bum thing.
Percentage-wise, this group of players have won more football matches than any other group of players in the Rangers history at the same number of games, bizarrely.
Bizarrely. You've got to remember the competition's less as well. You can't say that some of Aberdeen. But come on, you can't say Aberdeen's the same Aberdeen as
but there's a team in the league got to a Europa League final, Linda.
Aye.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate.
I think sometimes as well, it's just because of some of the performances we've witnessed over the last sort of 3 to 4 seasons, when we've been back in the sort of top league and, striving towards having better players and the club getting back on its feet, that there's been times where they've let us down and we've not went on and maybe won a league, and then we've been knocked out of the cups as well.
I was going to bring this up later, Linda. Give us 8 years ago yesterday. Listen to this, Albert. Give us a team, Linda. I know you're desperate. Go on.
Okay, right. So 8 years, 8th of February 2015 in the Scottish Cup 5th round, obviously the same round as we're about to play. Rangers 1, Raith Rovers 2. Right, and the team that day was Simonson in goals. We had Foster, Street, McCulloch and Wallace was the back four. We then had Hutton, Ian Black and Nicky Law in the midfield, and up front we had Miller, Vukic and Daly. Right, here's the subs as well: Robinson, McGregor, Murdoch, Shields, Boyd, Clark and Aird. And the attendance that day was 11,422.
We've came a long way in a relatively short space of time.
Yeah, incredible.
You know? Yeah. Albert, I get your thing about not putting teams away, but when did it ever happen?
I'm not saying it always happened, but I'm saying as a percentage is struggling to put teams away seems to be greater this time.
Do you want to start?
And it's a calibre.
Do you want to start with Walter Smith's 9-0 team and 1-0 victories?
I know, but it's a different set of circumstances, mate.
Mm-hmm.
The calibre of team, Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, they were all different calibre of team then. They're all better teams.
Better teams, aye. Scott, are you saying that Scottish football's atrocious, mate?
Aye, well, see, we done the 9 in a row. You got to remember that mob over there, they're all scum. They were crap. They were just garbage. But we always had a challenge for either Aberdeen or Hearts. One year it was Aberdeen, then it was Hearts the following year. Then you had maybe Hibs chipping in with. We've always had the there isn't any challenge now. If we don't challenge, nobody challenges. Put it that way. And that's wrong, mate. That's just you can't have any credibility if you've not got any competition. Mm-hmm. For other teams, I'm talking about.
So you're saying that if we had competition, decent competition, would we be higher than 31st in Europe? Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely, mate.
Well,
absolutely.
Good point, Linda.
Yeah, it is a good point, and it's quite, but it is still quite remarkable, you know, considering where we were all bare that we are 31st. And obviously we made a wee bit a mess of it this year. We obviously got into the Champions League, but we didn't perform very well. I think we're a wee bit far away from being able to do that. Who knows though, if we've got, you know, we've added a couple of quality additions and maybe after the summer. But obviously, you know, I still think that I would just like us to get more trophies domestically. I don't know, you know, Europe's a great thing and it brings finances, but it's silverware that we all want. I mean, looking at the last 10 years as well, we were talking about it as a family the other day and how many trophies we haven't won, you know. We've only won two domestic trophies in the last 10 years, and we were miles ahead at one point, weren't we?
How many domestic trophies did we win between 66 and 75?
I don't know.
Some of the greatest Rangers players ever played.
Not very many, I take it.
But that's that conspiracy going again, Oxford, at that time as well, that famous conspiracy that they've got going to new. So it's kicked in again. They don't win any trophies.
No, but it's amazing. Listen, Albert, I'll accept you can make stats and things mean anything you like, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, and you've got to take them out. And I also give you a point. I think Scottish football is hating itself to death with the quality of the teams, what they're serving up. I mean, if you go back in a certain period, Scottish teams were getting deep in Europe, weren't they? You know, Hibs had done it, Dundee had done it. Obviously, Dundee United got to a final, Aberdeen won a trophy. You know, teams competed, and even if they did go out, they would compete in the games. It's not like that at the moment, mate, is it?
No, they used to compete. They usually go out, but they never. If they met Bayern Munich early doors or one of the big teams early doors, fair enough, chance of getting out. But they never went out with draws. We're just playing absolute draws in Europe when they're putting us out. Teams that you've never even heard of, for Jalumba, and they're putting us out. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. But it seems to be that they're all happy with what's happening in Scotland and they're just jollying along for some odd reason. And where they're getting all the players for and how they're all sustaining their clubs is beyond me. I don't know how they're doing it. They must be running on nothing, absolutely nothing. But they just seem to be happy to do it. I like the competition. I like a bit more competition for all clubs to get into this. You know what I mean? Because it makes you stronger. But I don't see it happening anytime soon.
No, unless there's a radical shake-up. I mean, obviously, the radical shake-up of football's hit the headlines today, Linda.
Yes.
You know, I've not read all the details, but I see they're talking about potential for a league of four leagues of 20 or 3 leagues of 20, yeah?
Yeah, this European Super League. I think I read a wee bit about it. I think there's a court ruling in the spring. I think it's this company at A22 Sports Management have challenged the UEFA decision to block it, Ox. But you're right, it said something about up to 80 teams in a sort of multi-divisional format, but we would still play our own domestic leagues as well, but you would be guaranteed something like 14 games in this so-called Super League, whatever division you're in. So it'll be interesting to see how that kicks off, but I think they were saying that the old firm, if you're allowed to still call them that, have been consulted on it, and I think that they would be maybe invited to take part, but we'll just need to wait and see.
Yeah, I would think I think something will happen all there, you know. Yeah, the big and powerful usually get their way, yeah. In some respects, I think something will happen. And would you swap that for a League Cup? Some kind of model of that for the League Cup disappearing? Because it would have to disappear in every country, wouldn't it? You wouldn't have the time to play the games.
Aye, it's the forerunner for radically changing the whole world. But I think that A22, I don't think they'll get much credibility, mate. I think they're just there for the. They're out there to.
I'm not saying that, but something will give eventually, won't it?
I think it's going to, because you've got to grow the business, and there's nowhere else to grow it in their own countries. You know what I mean? Plus, FIFA and UEFA, their noses are out of joint because they're trying to compete in the market as well now. So they're competing against their own membership. Well, UEFA are competing against their own membership now, which is crazy. All these silly tournaments and all the different rounds now, and it's just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense as far as I'm concerned. And then FIFA join in with their international crap, and they're wanting to add more. They're wanting 2 World Cups every 2 years. Well, 2 World Cups every 4 years now. So it's once every 2 years. I mean, it's nonsense. It's absolute. There's no room for all this stupid football. But they're all greedy and they see the big gravy pot and they're all wanting to stick their ladle on. That's what I see. It's all just about money. We're going to be made to pay. Put it that way. No matter what way it goes, us poor supporters will be made to pay. So me personally, I couldn't care what way they go. All I'm looking for is your own league to get a bit more competitive, and I don't think that's the way forward they're talking about, because it'll be a cup competition that'll be dropped out. It'll not be an improvement in your league. It might be a wee bit more revenue, but again, they'll make it elite. They'll make it like it is, and they'll make sure Barcelona, Real Madrid, or the big teams, they go deep into these tournaments. That's what the sponsors are wanting. They're not wanting like Air United meet the Championship, the Champions League final. I mean, that'd be a disaster for them. It'd be good for us. It'd be a good laugh to watch. Oh, for them, it would say, "Oh no, you can have competition, but you can't have uncertainty. You've got to have a bit of certainty there because there's money involved."
I cover the bases, right? So the question is the English Premiership wonder, is it good or bad for football in general? You know, because if you look at Chelsea, spent more money in that last transfer window, allegedly, because you don't know the details, you're only going with the press, than France, Germany, Spain, and Italy altogether, I think.
I think it's well, if you like English, if you like watching it, and I do actually quite like watching English Premiership. I think the games are good because, you know, any team can really get a result against any other team, sort of in a given match. Ox, you know, they might not challenge for the league, but they can take points off different teams. I do quite like that part of it. And I think there's some really good players that play there. The difficulty with the English Premiership, it's just my opinion, is this the money that they get from Sky. Okay, it's a lot of money, but that is maybe not. It's maybe something that's not really working, because these teams are taking everything, really, you know. And it's whether or not that there's money available further down the leagues. But you can't blame them for taking the money from Sky, because let's face it, we've undersold our product up here. That's maybe why the old firm would be more interested in a Super League as well, because they're hardly making any money in Scotland at all, Ox, because of the people who run this game. But the English Premiership, you might say that there's just these clubs are attracting all these really, really wealthy owners, but you wonder if that's doing it any good. The only good thing about that is, to a certain extent, though, is that it does put money into the game, and it can maybe filter down when you look at the transfers, etc.
Does it put money in the game, or does all the money disappear at the game, Albert?
Disappears. If you're asking me about the Premiership, it's a question to Linda that they gave to Linda there. Well, I would say it's bad in every level. That Premiership, it should be done away with. There should be a real protect for all the leagues throughout Europe and the world should be protesting about that Premiership. It's too powerful, it's too strong, and it's killing the game. It's totally and utterly killing the game. There is no enjoyment in football for anybody else but all of them down there talking about their £100 million signings and all that. It's nuts, mate. It's totally nuts. It's got to stop. It's got to come to an end sometime. And as far as I'm concerned, the sooner the better, because I don't see it doing any good for football at all. That's just my opinion on it, mate.
Aye, and some of the clubs are state-owned now, you know. Some of them are state-owned. You know, so
exactly, mate.
You're putting countries' resources against other countries. I don't know how we go into that, Walter. I don't know how we go into that subject, but it's interesting.
They call it the English Premiership. The only English people are on the park is the referee and the two linesmen. That's the only English people you've got in the park. All the rest are foreigners. You know what I mean? Look at that. The English Premiership, it's a joke.
In some games, aye. In some games, you
It
know.
also is because they're able to pay all these players very inflated wages as well. Like other leagues and other clubs can't compete. So it's starting, then you start to see the real gulf. That's why, you know, teams that are in the Champions League end up getting hammered when they're in it. So that's really quite unfair. And a lot of these players probably, you know, when you think about it, the bottom teams and then the top teams in the Championship, what they can actually pay these players, it's really quite incredible.
Yeah, I think Norwich turned out pretty much the same money as us last year, only because of the parachute time and all that, you know.
Aye, I know we're on talking about Rangers tonight, but it's just annoying because it has an effect on us as well. It's an effect on everybody. What's happening down there? You're paying inflated prices for buying average players, all because they're paying spectacular money for buying average players. I mean, it's frustrating because you can't see any way out of this. It seems to be the people that are putting the money in are total and utter control of everything. And they'll keep putting it in as long as they want to put it in. Because, put it this way, I was trying to count it up. You're probably getting, us being the sheep, you're getting sheared for the one game about 3 or 4 times. It's madness. It's absolute madness. How many times do you want to pay for the same game? It's utter craziness. But that's the way it is. I mean, is there a solution? Aye. Put a ban on how much money can get put into football and how much money can take out of football. Agents and things like that. Put a limit on it. But they'll know because it suits them to be this way. Somebody somewhere's making money, put it that way.
Oh, there's a lot of people making money, mate. There's a lot of people money. But what they've done, Linda, is bizarrely they've took the glory out of football, innit?
Say that again, sorry, Ox.
They've took the glory out of football.
Yeah. When you think about it, I mean, it's just the chances are of a sort of so-called smaller team winning things. I mean, that's why our run to the Europa League final was even more remarkable when you think about it last year. I know we didn't win, but it was some achievement. But when you look back at some of the glory days, even talking about down south, you know, teams would come through and win cups, and then you would have different teams winning the league. And it's just, but as Albert said, it's just all about the money, and it really is kind of a stifle in the game. And yeah, you're right. There's not really any glory anymore.
No, anyway, we'll move on. We'll talk about our team. That was good to digress, Albert.
It's always good to have a wee chat about something else. Quite enjoyed that. Get my moan out the way.
But Mrs. Albert likes the Premiership watching it, didn't she?
Oh, Christ, man. It's sad. It's sad, by the way. I've bought her knitting and everything. She's not interested. She's just interested in looking at the talent.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know. You're talking about cardboard cutouts. She's like, can you get them? I was like, no, you can't. She's talking a lot of nonsense.
I'm just thinking. Leave that one with me. Right, yeah. You've lost me now.
Well, what were you for again?
I'll just throw it away. Aye, so what? Obviously, there's been things coming out about your club as well, and obviously, I don't know if you've noticed yesterday. With some more shareholdings bought, you know, so the club has came a long way in the year. You think about it all there. I mean, people have their thoughts, and I don't know if you've been down there. I know you don't stay that far away. The Edmondson House to have a wee look. Everything costs money, and you've got to spend it to accumulate. So we're trying to improve facilities, make it better for the fans who come. Yeah, you're trying to empty their pockets, but I don't think anybody's denying that all better.
No, I mean, we're not daft. We know what it's after. They're after more money. They're after the revenue streams. We know that. And the Rangers support are no miserable. They do put their hands in their pockets. You know what I mean? And the proof of the pudding's there for everybody to see. You know what I mean? But I've not got a problem with that. And it's no vast amounts of money that Rangers are after. You know what I mean? They're after a revenue stream that is sustainable. The Edmondson House will be. If it's £1 million a year, it's all right. It's not brilliant, but it's all right. I don't think it will be £1 million a year. I think it'll be excess of that. I really do. If it gets run the way it should get run, I think it'll be excess of that. But anyway, we'll see. But aye, everything's getting put in place. Edmondson House just been one thing. Rangers are proving the ground, which was sadly needed. So. And now we're starting to put decent players on the park. We're starting to look at the right players, I suppose. We're never going to compete in the transfer market with the clubs down south. So we can forget about that. That ain't ever going to happen, never again. But there's other ways of doing it. I'm happy-ish. Put it that way. I'm happy-ish at where we're going. It seems to be going in the right direction. A lot better than it used to be, as you just pointed out with that team.
Aye. This guy, Michael Beale, that's walked in. Linda, has he got the X Factor?
I think he has, and I've got to be honest with you, I was a wee bit unsure at the beginning when we signed him, and I don't know if it's just because the two previous managers were the kind of big time players, weren't they, big names. But I think he's definitely growing on everyone, seems to handle himself really well. And I know the performances, we want them to be better, but you can't really argue with his start, can you? 12 games played, 11 wins and 1 draw, nearly a perfect record, Ox. So it's quite exciting to think what he could do. Like once he kind of gets these, the two marquee signings in January, we get them up and running. Who knows what will happen in the summer? And I think it is. I think it's good times ahead under Michael Beale. And I did, as I said, I was quite a bit unsure at the beginning.
Where are you sitting on? Where are you? Glass half full, glass half empty?
With Michael Beale?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, half full. I'm more than happy with the guy. The strange thing about this situation with Michael Beale at the moment is when Gerrard was there, he was the coach, so he was taking a lot of workload, pressure, whatever it is, away from Gerrard. Now that he's the actual manager, he needs an assistant manager. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody to take the management, the heavy load of the management off him, or some of the load of the management, so he can carry on with the coaching. Because I think the coaching is his forte. That's where his skills lie. But he's still the manager. But the proof of the pudding of what kind of manager he's going to be is in this summer. You've got to have the ruthless streak. You've got to have the streak to take the big, hard, horrible decisions.
Make a big call. Make a big call.
Aye, and he's not really had to make a big call that I can see. You know what I mean? He's, but it's coming. Don't get me wrong. That test is coming, and you'll see what kind of guy, kind of manager you've got then. The coaching side, no got a problem with him. The actual football side, no got a problem with him. It's the management side that I don't think he's tested in yet.
All right, if it's all right we used to, I think we'll get these phone lines opened, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
And we don't know what it takes us tonight. And you want to talk about Albert particularly?
I will think about that. I'll think because you caught me on the hop. You know me. You start something and I'll just waffle away nonsense. You know what I mean?
Punctuation marks are your forte at the moment. Is there any truth in this when I'm there?
That's true. I got one a day. I sent away for Amazon for Billy. So I've got that. He says I need one as well.
That's plenty.
I don't think he's wrong.
You could maybe share one.
That's a good idea, right? I'll have a comma.
Maybe she ready the biscuits for the studio, Linda, and get it to a couple of gobstoppers.
No. Packet of Kit Kats to share out the night.
Oh, don't you start. Can't crack any of the jokes. Right, let's hear from this.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, give that team again, Linda. Give that team again.
Right, goalkeeper was Simonson. And then
Worst ever. Worst ever.
Was that Foster? Was that Ricky Foster? Was right back? Somebody called. I mean, I've got to say, I don't recognise this name. Street, Streete. I didn't recognise that at all.
On loan for Newcastle, I believe.
Yeah, McCulloch, and then Lee Wallace was obviously left back. And then your midfield was Hutton, Ian Black and Nicky Law, and then we had Miller and Vukic and Daly up front.
Wow.
And we lost 2-1 to Wraith Rovers. Goodness sake.
Away to home.
At home. Just over 11,000 was there, Albert.
Yeah, there was a bit of boycott going on, wasn't it? They split the fans, you know.
Yeah.
That was the time that King told us to stay away, basically, wasn't it?
We took the 5 boys in loan. I think that boy street I think that might have been the only game we ever played. Linda, I need to check that out. He got injured. We took the 5 Newcastle loanees. We've been joined by the one and only Jaffa. Evening, Jaffa.
Evening, Ox. Better late than never. Do apologise.
No, not at all. We'll accept our note for your mother, mate.
Hi, Jaffa.
Good evening, Linda. Good evening, Albert. Sorry.
I'm stoning in for you, mate. I'm stoning in for you.
Appreciate it.
They wish there wasn't stoning in for you, but I was stoning in for you. You know what I mean? They couldn't get anybody half decent, so they just get me.
We put the call out, but everybody else was busy.
Oh, you say old age doesn't come itself, that's for sure. Forgetfulness.
He's brilliant, these Sudokus. He gets all the boxes all right. Not necessarily in the right order, but he fills them.
That's true as well.
And on your mind, Jaffa?
Obviously, it's a wee bit quiet at the moment, Ox, you know, after the weekend's game. You know, I'm sure I've heard the shows you've covered, most of it during the week. But no, I've not heard anything today. I don't know if there's any updates, anything from the club today or anything like that.
No, I think the big story's European football. If you're talking about in the football world today, Jaffa, which always affect us, you know, being the top Scottish team, ranked in number 31 in Europe, came back for where we were and streets ahead of anybody else in the country. Remarkable, mate.
Unbelievable. And I was listening to TalkSport this morning about that when the news of that started breaking last night. So they're all over it. They're covering it as we speak just now. So it's an interesting debate, Ox, and obviously it's not going away. So it's like everything, that these things will probably end up happening. It might just depend on till they get the right format and till they involve everybody, till they break the the stick breaks the camel's back, so to speak, and money will talk, won't it?
Usually, mate.
And
listen, we've heard you all better than right, but I want to get your two. We've seen Todd Cantwell 3 times now, Linda. Obviously, he's not played a lot of minutes, but we've seen him 3 times. We've seen Raskin for about 10-15 minutes at the weekend, and I'll tell you what, he needs to pull his socks up. But what's your initial reaction, Linda?
Cantwell, yes, I've been impressed with him. He looks a player. Looks quite busy, doesn't he? Wants to make things happen, and it's a great wee set up for Tillman for a really important goal, as it turned out at the weekend. Unlucky maybe not to score. I thought he probably disappointed he didn't. He actually the one that just clipped the bar. So yeah, really quite impressed with him. And then we only saw Raskin his wee cameo, didn't we? But he looked quite busy as well, didn't he? Showed a wee bit of pace, Ox, and I think he's not just a ball winner, the boy Raskin. I think he's technically supposed to be very good, and he's got quite a bit about him. So I think they're 2 very exciting signings. But obviously it's early doors, but hopefully they'll hit the ground running.
Jeff?
I think, like Linda, and I think all of us, looking at the games that we've seen Cantwell playing, I think we can all see that Todd Cantwell's an absolute. He looks as if he's the real deal. He's got a lot about him, Mox. The positional strength, sense that he takes up. He's just. I love the way he takes the ball in and he encourages. I like the way he takes up positions with opposition round about him and encourages the ball into him because he's trying to draw them, and I think that's a great quality and something we actually don't have in the team, where he's actually drawn 2 and 3 defenders to him, because I think he's that confident of his own ability that he can get himself out of it, or he can play enough 1-2s to get through it, and I think that's great. And incidentally, that's kind of how the goal came about at the weekend. So great movement from him, great run into the box. He looks happy. And for what I'm hearing on social media, he is happy, and he's happy that he's moved on. So if that's the case, and Michael Beale can work his magic with him and introduce him into our club and dip him in, who we're all about, then I think we've got a player in our hands. Raskin, I think we need to wait and see. But by all accounts, for what I've seen, Ox, the guy looks a real find as well. So. I'm really excited about the midfield and how it's going to look moving forward. And obviously we've got a big cup final coming up, so I dare say these 2 lads will have their eye on that as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but people talked about bringing the legs in the midfield, and we're not saying any of the guys in there are slow, because they're no, but it's just that half a yard of pace that you need to be able to get about the park and compete that bit quicker, as we saw in some of the games we played in the Champions League. So we're always striving to get better. And my initial thoughts that they too, even though they're just a cameo, we're asking, they cover the ground quicker.
They cover the ground quicker. The biggest thing they've got going for them is they're quicker. Their thought is quicker, so they're able to see the pass early and get it, and more importantly, get it away. And then they've got that wee extra half yard that gets you away from players. So they're no speed merchants by any stretch of the imagination, but they're quick thinking football players, and that's worth its weight in gold. That if you get somebody quick of mind, because they're dangerous. They're dangerous. They're ahead of you before they even go to the ball half the time. So for that point of view, and they can move. They can move about. I think as you said, I think Jack and Lundstrom are slow. I think Kamara's quite slow as well.
I think Kamara can cover the ground really quick, mate.
I've not seen it. I've not seen him run away from him, to put it on.
Oh, have a look back at the Hearts game, watch his run when he overlaps about 3 or 4 times. Help me out here, Jaffa. What's your thoughts on that one?
I think since Beale has come in, Ox, Glenn Kamara, he's playing a slightly different role. Whereas that role that we had him in the holding 2, I don't think that's Glenn Kamara's position. And I think when he gets into the number 10 or that front area of the park, I think Glenn Kamara is a different player, and I think he's good at getting back as well. I wouldn't say Glenn Kamara is slow, in my opinion. And I'm not saying Jack or Lundstrom are slow. I think Jack and Lundstrom have not got. I'm trying to be without being offensive or upsetting the two of them here. I don't think they've not got the way they can open up a defence, the way that Cantwell and probably Raskin can. And I think Kamara can do that. Kamara can open a defence up.
They've not got the. Is it fair to say their game isn't about the vision? Then is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Hawks. They've not got the vision.
All right, mate. All right, that's fair. Anyway, we've enjoyed with Blue Star. Evening, Blue Star.
Evening, Hawks, Chair, Linda, Jaffa and Albert.
Evening,
Just
Blue
what
Star.
you're talking about.
Evening,
Just what
Blue
you're
Star.
talking about, guys. See, for me, Hawks, I think he'll start with Raskin against Thistle. And I fully expect him. I heard most of the show last night. I agree with Albert. I fully expect Cantwell and Raskin to be starting in that final. Honestly, I do, mate. I do not think for a minute if he gets him up to speed, and I don't think it'll take that long, because I believe that Raskin was fitter as he came than what Cantwell even was, and you've seen the difference in Cantwell in 2 games. So for me, I would be starting with A2, and I'd be starting with Tillman in the final and all, and just exactly what he's on about. It's not that Lundstrom and Jack and Kamara are slow, but they don't have the vision. They don't have the pace to get back and forward all the time. The three of them definitely don't. Kamara definitely doesn't either. They're not in the same league as Raskin and that Cantwell for me. They really are, mate. And for me, when he's spending that kind of money bringing in the likes of Raskin, I know we're all talking about Cantwell because he's had a couple of games, guys, but for me, Raskin's an absolute stick-on. He'll be in that team. For me, it's a stick-on. He gets him up to speed, and I don't think he'll be at it. I really don't.
I hope you're right, Poster. I hope you're 100% right, and he's in every week, and he's in every game in merit, Linda, and he's playing well, and he's throwing it, because that means we'll be successful.
Yeah,
just the jury's still out. I've not seen enough to judge.
No, I know, but Blue Star's right. We haven't brought Cantwell and Raskin in just to bed them in gently over the next 3 or 4 months. He said he wanted starters, and I would say that the two of them are. I agree with Blue Star. I think the two of them will play on Sunday. And
I told you, don't mention starters. Big Steve will be on the phone. Carry on.
And I know the Libby pitch, right? It's always a problem for us. But I would still play the two of them against Livingston as well. I would want them to play as much as they can before that cup final. And It would be great if they're then in the cup final team in merit, because as you said, that means that they've been playing well. But for me, they definitely start on Sunday, and I would also play them against Livingston as well, Ox.
Oh, I would plan to play them against Partick Thistle a little bit, and then I'll see what the reaction we get with them and how they are. And then I'll make my mind up at the next game. That's a manager's job, isn't it?
It's a cert, mate. It's a cert they're playing on Sunday. Absolute cert. It's madness if they don't. There's no reason not to play them, know what I mean? They'll definitely play. And I'll go as far, I think Big Suter will play as well. And I think Roof will play as well. Roof or Cho, maybe even the two of them. And it's no underestimating Thistle by any stretch of the imagination. You've got to give them respect.
We should be able to sell about 200,000 tickets for Sunday's game, as that was the case, because the way it's went, to get Suter and Roof on the park at the same time is remarkable, isn't it? You know, but I get where you're coming from. But I would think that if you could take to Blue Star, I'll go to Jaffa with this first, then Blue Star come in. If you take Blue Star's point, I've got a different point of view about the midfield. I think the guys possibly could start in the cup final, but let's see how it goes for them. We've got to get there first. You've got to get the blend right, Jaffa, yeah?
Aye, and that's this game and the Livingston game is exactly how Michael Beale will be viewing that, Ox, especially the game on Sunday, but I've done it as well. The game against Thistle on Sunday in the Cup. I mean, with Tillman in that 4-2-3-1, it started. I mean, they'll not play two holding midfielders against Partick Thistle, so it could be a 4-1-4-1. It starts to make that midfield look really exciting, doesn't it? If you've got Cantwell, Raskin, and Tillman in there, and if Alfredo Morelos is there, or if it's Cholak or Roof, if Roof's back. I mean, in the case of Alfredo Morelos, I'm going off at a tangent here. Obviously, he's telling us all to wait on God, and God will choose the time perfect today. So you've got to make it out what you will. I don't know if there's contract talks going on, or but he's telling us God will make the decision. So I dare say there's a subliminal message in there. But getting the blend right, Ox, is important, and it'll be one game at a time. Absolutely, 100%.
When I was at the Albury, he said to me, "Oh God, is that the time?"
get us another drink in then.
Who was saying, "Oh God"? Morelos?
Aye.
Oh, was he? That makes
Post-star.
sense.
Post-star, and you come, mate.
I just think, Ox, here that the very fact we've been screaming at it that we needed legs in the middle of the park, and you make it up what you will. You're just looking for main energy, guys on the ball that can make things happen. There ain't no two ways about it. They two guys, that's why they've been brought in, and I'm inclined to think there's going to be. I think with the 5 subs situation, the very fact that he's got players coming back, being fit, and it all bears right again, i.e. Kolach and the likes of Ruth. Gone with what Kolach says, and I know you can't go with everything that you read, but gone with Kolach saying, he's telling you straight he's 100% fit now, that it'll take him a couple of games for match fitness. So there's no two ways. He'll start. He might even start with him and Ruth, or with him and Morelos on Sunday too, because he said for long enough that he would love to have a chance where he can play the two guys up front. Well, he's getting no greater chance than, again, let's be honest, guys, they're going to have 99% of the ball against Thistle. The Livingston game's a wee bit different in the sense that they're a physical team and they play in a plastic pitch. But on Sunday's game, Mary Hill maybe isn't the greatest of pitches, but at the same time, Ibrox isn't the greatest. Ibrox is a great pitch, so anything he wants to try, you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to try it at Ibrox. So for me, I think there's every chance you'll even see him playing two, whether it's Ruth or Morelos, but certainly Kolach will come on and all. But for me, guys, honestly, I just think opposite Raskin and Cantwell, he's earmarked him for that final. Absolutely no two ways about it. And for me, it's mega exciting, because for me, they've got the pace. And we've seen for Cantwell alone, the way that he was actually stumbling when he went by the guy to flick the ball up, and he put it right on a plate for wee Tillman. Mm-hmm. The very fact Tillman was running in there, that's brilliant for me, and I'm excited to see the two guys in the middle of that park. I really am.
Jaffer, I don't think Michael Beale thinks about the cup final. He hobbits subconsciously, but I don't think he focuses on it to the minute after the Livingston game's finished. That's his job. He can't make plans. He doesn't know what he's doing with.
No, he doesn't, Ox. He doesn't. But you're right. He will be thinking about it. Maybe in the back of his head. But I think Michael Beale's quite a strategic guy. I think he's heavy duty on the planning, Ox. And I think there's been evidence to back that up, in the sense that you hear him talking about certain players, identifying them for certain games. I know that's mainly coming back for injury. But I'm sure, like Blue Star's been alluding to there, I think he'll be thinking about that team, Ox, and how it's going to look, because obviously we've got a difficult league game and Stanley's in between there with the Livingston away game, and that park again always becomes an issue, because there's just certain players, probably Ryan Jack being one of them right away off the top of my head, that always finds it difficult on those surfaces, and he doesn't usually play them on those surfaces. So and you know what's going to happen now, don't you? Ryan Jack will be starting against Livingston. I think in one sense it's like everything in football. You've got to take it a game at a time. It's an old cliche, but it's true, because you're right. You don't know who's possibly going to pull up. You know who's going to whether you say the blend's going to be right, and he'll need to nurture that, and he'll need to incubate it. I'm sure Michael Beale's already working on that, and I would like to think that's what the guys are doing in training this week.
Linda.
Yeah, Jaffa makes a good point as well about the Livingston game in that pitch, and I know I'm going to contradict myself here, and I did say that I would probably just play Cantwell and also play Raskin, but when you think about that pitch and how some people have ended up getting injured, you would hate for that to happen. But I don't think you can go out and just be so wary of that, Ox. I think, as you say, you have got to take just one game at a time. I was just thinking about Raskin, about trying to get him in and get him minutes in the team, trying to get used to the way that they play and link up with his new teammates. And unfortunately, one of the games is against Livingston. There's not much we can do about it. But we'll just have to get Sunday out the way and just make sure we get through, because we're not underestimating Thistle at all. But I would expect them to put out quite a strong team, because Ox, we've actually struggled against some of the so-called lesser teams in the cup competitions at Ibrox when we've put out weakened teams in the past. When you think about it. So we've got to make sure that we get the job done. And then I don't know, is it 5 subs that you're allowed? Yep. And then you can get players on,
I'm expecting a team full of first teamers. I'm not expecting 3 or 4 young boys all better, if I'm being honest. I think you could be right, but Cholak could play. I wouldn't be surprised if the back four's what it's been, mate.
Aye, you're probably right, mate. Like Cholak and Roof, for example, when do you play them? If you're not going to play them in that game, when do you play them? I know we're going to win. We're going to win the game.
We'll know tomorrow, but I don't know if Roof's back, mate.
Are they injured again?
Well, he's done his shoulder. He wasn't back full training yet, was he? That was last week. Things could have changed this week.
Well, is he putting his drawers on or something small and injured himself? What's happening now?
I'll pass you to our expert on that. Jaffa.
Who knows, Albert? Who knows? I mean, it's listen. I can only imagine Kemar Roofs is. He must be gutted with the run of injuries that he's had. And listen, if he's back in training, I think last week he was back. It was a non-contact or non-touch. I think Michael Beale described that as. So he was on his own out in the pitch. So if he's came through that okay, he should be back in full training this week. It might still be light, but he should be back in full training. And
he's on his own training and he runs into Jaffa. Someday we have got problems, haven't we?
Oh, jeez, runs into one of the dummies. Oh,
cone.
Aye.
I mean, some of the players are wearing a space boot with ankle. He's wearing a space suit. No, I mean, he's going to train in a space suit.
Oh, no. We shouldn't laugh, really, but it's the kind of
what you can't underestimate, Hawks, is Kemar Roof's goals per game is unbelievable. If we can get him fit and get him on the park,
minutes per goal. Yeah,
crazy, Hawks, crazy. I mean, really, if we can get him fit and get him a run of games, and as you say, keep him just in the team and about the pool, bringing him on as subs and stuff, like he did in the semi-final. That goal that he scored. That's what Kemar Roof brings to the party.
I'm talking about his goals and Jermaine Defoe. By the way, I've got top of my hat at Jermaine Defoe. He's been on a lot of the national media, and every time he's got nothing but good words to say about our club and our support. Linda.
Oh, yeah, he's terrific, isn't he? He's such a gentleman, and he's obviously done a lot of good things in the game. And his only league winners' medal was with Rangers, and I think he'll always look back in his time with great fondness. And he was a cracking wee player, and I mean his goals per minute ratio must have been fairly good as well, Ox. He scored some important goals, but he also scored goals when we needed just a wee spark from somewhere. But he's a terrific guy, he really is. We really enjoyed having him at the club.
You left too soon. We've got a few cardboard cutouts if you're up for it, Albert.
See, would I kept him for the FA Cup final? We might have won that.
Without a centre forward, we've done that in my history. We've done that before. Played the European final without a centre forward. Aye.
Roger Ryan.
Aye, mate. Aye.
Aye, there's a lot of scoring now. The woman said that the woman concur with that too.
Aye, well, I done all right. He's been busy. I don't know. So I think he took young Alfie under his wing. No, Alfie, Fashion under his wing. Right, back four, I don't see any changes. Potential for Suter maybe to come on, and maybe you never know. Albert could start, and you might be right because he's been training for a while. The midfield will be the place that everybody will be looking to see who's starting. I'm in your camp, Blue Star. I would start Raskin and Cantwell with AA and other.
Aye, definitely. See, he's got to get him. He's got to get him match fit, and there's no greater possibility. As I say, that London, that's right yourself when you're talking about the likes of Jack. I mean, even if we're filling in, even if he was going to start with Jack, Lundstrom, Kamara, whoever in the midfield for Livingston, it might be a bit dodgy because of their surface. So you definitely have to think Raskin will start on Sunday at Ibrox without a doubt. The back four, I don't see that getting changed at all. I think McGregor will be back in, although that's debatable too. He might just play McLaughlin because it's a cup game. It's a midfielding up front, whether he changes it any. But certainly the midfield, he's got to have Raskin and Cantwell in there. He's got to get them up to speed for this. Despite what we think, he's got to have views on the final because it's only next week away. So that he's getting a greater chance.
2 weeks away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anybody think Young Devine could push for a start? Jaffa?
Possibly, Ox, aye. I mean, Adam Devine, again, he falls into that category, Ox. He's been, he done nothing wrong. In fact, he done nothing wrong at all. He showed us all as supporters that there's a player there. He stepped in. He played on the left side. He was really good on the left side. We know his favoured side is the right-hand side. So, any fullback position for Adam Devine, I don't see why not, Ox, especially against Partick Thistle. Aye. If he is probably going to introduce any of the younger guys that are in the dressing room into a game, it will be Adam Devine. His name will be right at the top of the list, I suspect. Hadji's, I don't know if Hadji's available again for selection. Hadji, is that middle with the three again, we possibly with Raskin and Cantwell, maybe give Tillman a wee rest. Listen, Malik Tillman's ability and what he's done for us in the last number of months, probably since the start of the season, to be fair, right at the beginning of the season, he's. I mean, I think he's becoming a fan's favourite, isn't he, Tillman? And he's only 20 years old. I love him.
I wouldn't go for as a fan's favourite. Andy Leeds doesn't like anybody. Albert.
I think it's true that Andy's looked in the mirror one day, man. I don't like him.
You blame him?
He's no, Tillman for me. I like Tillman, but I don't think Devine's going to get a start. Not a big thing. It's a problem at the moment.
This is going to on their way to the hills.
I know there's going to be a problem. It's just one game a week.
Somebody got that one. Somebody got it, Linda.
Yeah, big Sydney.
Up down the country roads it is.
Too subtle for Albert. Carry on, Albert.
It's too subtle for me. Don't explain it now. Don't keep me in the dark here. Don't explain it.
A wee Sydney number.
Oh, Sydney. I didn't like Sydney Devine. He sang about chewing gum on the bedroom post or something. Was that him? I don't know what's happening here. Anyway.
Is that no Dolly?
What you doing? You're in bedrooms up to you, Linda. We don't want to know, yeah.
That's a shame, Albert. He's having a go at you tonight.
I know. I just I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here.
I'll start again. Do you think Young Devine will start, Albert?
No, I don't think he'll start because you got to remember there's only one game a week. So the first team players should be starting, I would imagine, because it's got this one game a week nonsense is going to hurt the younger players, I think, because you can't get them onto the park and you're looking to like this game against Partick Thistle, you're looking for an early goal to get us going and to maybe get it all done and dusted for an hour. Then we can get half an hour, get legs, get minutes and legs for likes of Devine and other players like Lowry and players like that. But it's this back to this original point we were making. We can't get the games put to bed early enough. This is important. And with this one game a week, carry on. No, I mean, I don't know about you, but it seems like ages since there's been a game. Because we're used to 2 and 3 games a week. We're used to it. It's going to hurt the young players more than anything else, I think. And that you're not going to get them on the park, unfortunately. And remember, by the way, we struggled against Dundee this year in the League Cup. It was a League Cup. I think it was a League Cup. At Ibrox, we struggled to put them away. So we can't underestimate Thistle. We've got to give them some respect. You know what I mean? You can't just write them off as if we'll beat them and that'll be that. Look what happened with St Johnstone that year. So
you're spot on. I get your point about the young players. If the season was different, maybe some of them would get a chance on Sunday. Blue Star, eh?
Well, if we were going 3 and 4 goals up, gone with the team he starts with, he can totally change it. Conveniently bring 5-1 right away, start the second half, but it's all going to go in the result. It depends how they start, mate. If we start in like a house and fire and we get the 3 and 4 goals up, if that's going to happen, then he'll definitely change it. What players he's going to use for Wednesday, etc. So I still think he's definitely going to have an eye in the final. I think he'll be trying at some point on Sunday to try and give the nucleus his team, because we all know what the back four is going to be for the final. We know that. It's between his midfield and his attack. So he's going to have to try and nurture, try and play that at some point, for me anyway. As I say, obviously Raskin and Cantwell have new subjects, so they've got to play to get them moving. So I think that will be in the back of his mind. And even more so if we can start at a good pace and get a few goals up, then he's able to change it as to what he thinks.
Yeah, interesting. It's a big game, Jeff. We're moving deep into another cup competition, yeah?
Yeah, it is. Ox, it's a massive game. I agree with what Albert says and Blue Star there. This isn't a run out. This is serious stuff, and the attitude's got to be right again. I don't know. After the game at the weekend there, do you cut them a wee bit of slack after the energy that they put in and the effort they put in against Hearts? The week before, is that maybe why the performances dropped off? Is it Ibrox? I heard Michael Beale or somebody within the club even saying that. Is it the expectation of the big crowd? I wouldn't like to think that was the issue. That's supposed to G you on. So it'll be a full house again, Ox, as per usual with the Rangers supporters. Attitude, application, that's what it's all about, and hunger levels, and get the game won and dusted. Get into them. And we should, with respect, we should be beating Partick Thistle comfortably. But you've got to go and earn it, Ox. You can't just come up and expect it.
Yeah. Well, we've reached that time in the evening, but we're going to have a tune, mate.
Good, mate. We think so.
Get yourselves a mute. We're going to have a tune.
On Flesher's Haw, down by the Clyde, 4 teenage lads did propose to form their own wee football team. The idea there arose. Way back then, how could they know that millions they would love the greatest in all history, the Rangers Football Club. The Rangers Football Club. The Rangers Football Club. The greatest in all history, the Rangers Football a debt we owe, we cannot pay. Those gallant pioneers, a legacy they did bestow, we shared down through the years. To Moses and those fine young lads, our gratitude we'll show. We'll sing our song with heart and voice, and let the whole world know. The Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the greatest in all history, the Rangers Football Club. Come join as one and toast to all who share our history. Toast William Struth, a noble man, I'm sure you will agree. Lest we forget our absent friends, they watch from up above. In life and death we'll always be with Rangers Football Club. The Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the greatest in all history, the Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
We might get an update tomorrow, Linda. I think young McCrory would have started if he's fit, but I don't believe he's fit, so it's unfortunate for the lad. We'll not see him.
No, that's right. Was it an ankle injury he had? And
He's been up for a few weeks now, hasn't he?
yeah, that's right, because I think it's taken a bit longer than what they had hoped, and it's a real shame because, as you said, we probably would have seen him. I tend to, it might be totally wrong here, but I tend to think he'll stick with McGregor now until the end of the season, Ox. I just think we better having a settled goalkeeper. I think it settles the defence. And I know John McLaughlin, you don't want to make him a scapegoat, but we can't get away from the fact that it was a really bad error he made at the weekend. He doesn't really look that confident anymore, Ox, and I don't know if what happened to him earlier on in the season's just knocked his confidence. But I think it's better just to have the settled back five now, I think.
All right, well, we'll ask people what they think, all better. Yeah, that's a good point, huh?
Aye. I would go with McGregor myself.
Mm-hmm. Aye, if you think that's the end of the rotation, yes or no, simple as that. Put it on social media, we'll have a quick look, see what people are thinking. I tend to agree with you. Obviously, you can't say forever because as the season goes on, you don't know what will happen, Jaffa. But now the way the fixtures are going to be spread out, I think there's no reason for Alan can't make it, and it looks as if he's better goalie. So you play a better goalie, Jaffa.
100%, Ox. Yep. You always play the best. The best that's in form in every position. I know sometimes that there's other reasons come into play, but in the case of the goalkeeping situation, yeah, I would play Alan. Until the end of the season, and then I think there is going to be some movement in that part of the pitch. He's already indicated that, Michael Beale. So Alan's got the number one jersey, and with the amount of games that we've got left and big games, we've just spoken about the Thistle game. We've got the cup final coming up. We've got big league games coming up. We've got to just keep the performance levels where they are, if not better. and try and erode into that goal difference, Ox, for me, as the season moves on.
All right. Okay, I get it. What's your thoughts, Blue Star?
Well, the back four, we know that's picking itself, so I'd agree with everybody. I think he'll resort back to McGregor. He's number one, isn't he? Ox, what's the latest on Lindstrom? I haven't heard anything about it.
Obviously,
is there any
away.
Update on him?
I obviously went away with his boot and protection. That makes perfect sense. The last we've heard, and we'll get an update tomorrow because the press conference is tomorrow. The injury is not as bad as first feared. He might be fit to play the weekend, or he might be back for the Livingston game. Yeah.
This is the Vodafone voicemail service for 07919.
Right. But it's not as bad as first feared, because obviously you're worried about ligaments, Linda.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ox. I think I heard that as well. Not as bad as what they had feared. Maybe missed the weekend, but hopefully back. It's whether or not you would then play him on the Astro pitch. I suppose that's a question as well. But certainly it's not like as if he's going to be out for weeks or a month or anything like that.
After the Hearts performance against John Lundstrom's performance against Hearts was superb, but then he started off against Ross County there and got himself injured because they gave the ball away.
He's one of the. I don't know if he's a confidence player or what it is. Well, I think when he thinks it's too easy and he slows the play down and he doesn't concentrate properly. And that pass, I think, was part like that. Didn't concentrate. He's a different player. He's a horrible player when he's like that. But when he's on it, and like the Hearts game, the Celtic game, second half of the Celtic, that's the player we want. That's the player you say, mirror that, please. I want you to play. You can't play every game like that. I know that. You'll go up and down and form things like that. But too many of the lackadaisical performances, the slow performances for him. Could I go? I know he's talked about it, but see the McLaughlin situation. Mm-hmm. He's getting brought in for specific games, like the Crows boys with a big team like Ross County, and they're bringing him in for that. And he's no dealing with it. Could I give you another suggestion? Why don't we change the shape and bring another centre half like Suter on, and play 3 centre backs at the back? And like Suter, because Suter's good in the air. I've seen that much. He's good in the air. So I'm saying, well, the keeper can't do it. Why don't we do it with the centre backs now? Sorry, I'm taking these off subject.
How would you play a 3-5-2? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe something like that. It's not. I mean, in saying to yourself, if you want to fire high balls into our box, fire them in all day. They'll clear them up all day. Because as you're saying last night, Davis is not the best, and he's not the worst in there. I'm not saying he's a bad player in there, but he's no the best. So you basically get Suter and a dodgy goalkeeper to try and cut out these, or cut out when the ball's in the air. I'm talking about the fullback should be cutting the ball out before it gets into the box. You could do that. That would solve a lot of problems. But anyway,
you know how we could solve that problem even easier, Albert?
Don't play with a ball.
No, put the ball in the net at the other end.
I know. That's the key to it, isn't it? That's the key to it. And to do that, you need Roof and Cholak fit. Telling you, I said it the other night, and I still stick by it. You need they two fit. It's key to get them two fit.
All right. Talking about key people.
The Rangers women just went 3 up against Hibs.
I was taking that. I'm going to watch you later. You've just ruined it.
Betamax or VHS?
Both. Talking about, we've been joined by Andrew Fearleads. How are we doing, Andrew?
Good evening, chaps. Good evening, Linda. I'm just quite shocked at the disparaging words that was said in the first part of the show there. I'm totally shocked.
At least we like you, mate. Know what your big mate, eh?
He's all right. he likes to write a text as like War and Peace.
He loves it.
He does. He's a good man.
See with the corner, Andy. See with the corner. Big Alec would have been in it last night. He'd have been in the corner last night, wouldn't he?
Oh, he was getting it, yeah. Definitely. On the goalie, I would stick with I'm going to be good tonight. I won't swear at it. I'll say McGregor. Other than an injury, I would stick with him to the end of the season. Maybe a couple of league games of back in, get McCrory, and let's see if we could have a couple of run-outs. The thing you were talking about, killing the game and all that, probably not get away with it, you'll probably shoot me down. It was far, far better or more even when we had the 3-4 rule. It would be nice if we could go back to that. We give teams a bit of a better chance, Or to go deeper in rounds anyway. I know that the big powers
you
with
talking
the big
about
money.
Europe?
Aye, Europe, yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry, mate. You lost me there. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. I think that would be good. I think it would give teams a better chance.
For the majority of people in Europe, mate, that's illegal because of when you're a Labour, mate, you can't do it.
Yeah, that was the point I was making. I thought it was something like that, but just in my eyes, I'd like to see it that way. I think it would give teams a better chance and probably would go deeper. Other teams that are in, big names would go possibly further if that, if you played with 7 of your own players in the team, as was proven when we did it the last time.
There's 7 decent Scottish players, Andy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, well, we'd have to find them, wouldn't we? I'll give you that, right. But, we don't stop looking. We don't stop looking. We're never going to find them.
Aye. Sherlock Holmes, I'll tell you. You'd be struggling to find 7 decent Scottish players for Rangers.
Yeah, well, that's true, right enough. But you've got to find them. What's the point of having academies and all that? And we're not going to find them, or unearth a gem here and there. And hopefully that does happen somewhere down the line. That'll implode with this football, won't it? You know what I mean?
Academies only always about the first team, mate. There's revenue streams. Clubs look
at
revenue streams. Yeah.
I get all that. Just give me a couple of minutes just to stay in the past there. That's kind of like that, There was lots of trophies then and good players that played for us if we get
what we've also found out tonight, Linda and Jaffer, is that Andy doesn't like foreigners.
No, wait a minute. I ain't biting at that one because you got to be very careful these days, ain't you?
Don't say anything, Andy.
I know. I mean, I'd be stupid, but I ain't that daft.
Hey, Jaffa.
Aye, he's just loading that gun there, Andy, waiting for you to
fire. I know. I just laugh now, I don't bite at that one. You know what I mean? He's on the quiet, don't tell anybody. There ain't many I like in the team, but don't let anybody know, will you?
Tell you, Andy, linking in.
It's no stop some players biting in the past.
You go,
Andy, linking in there what you were saying about the 3-4 rule. I don't think you'll. I think your wishes will probably come true because after this investigation into Manchester City and whatever that's going to unearth and what the repercussions of that's going to be. I think it could be quite hard hitting, and I think it'll affect a lot of things. In particular, I think it'll affect what's going on in the EPL and the kind of money that's getting thrown about down there. So, I think legislation and financial fair play and all the rest of it. I think those rules and regulations are going to get tighter because I think even the governing body are concerned about the amount of money that's getting spent.
Are you telling me, Jaffa? Because I'm not very clever, as you know. Right, are you telling me that there could be a team in Scotland who have got threats to Manchester City, who that potentially there's people getting side payments who are playing in the Scottish Premier League? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I believe that's one of the allegations that's made, Ox, and I think there's substantial evidence to prove that. You just have to, I think there's a saying goes, I think you need to follow the money, don't you?
Oh dear, I just can't believe things like that would happen in this world. Right, okay. Right, Andy. Here's one for you. Who else do you know like?
Well, I'll tell you what, Ox, you're fast becoming the top of my list. There you go.
I'm quite chuffed with that. I'm quite chuffed. No. Who's your team for Saturday, Andy? Sunday, sorry.
Same back four. I'd run Cantwell and Raskin out. In the middle there, then you would have to go for either, well, Moby Lumsden, well, because he's still injured. It'd be between Jack and Kamara. probably Kamara against them right enough, and then up front it would be Kent, Sashin, and I give Cole a start from this. Give him a go for the start. That should be good enough. Any team we put out there should be good enough. But as Albert said there, the Dundee game was shocking, wasn't it? You know, maybe Lowry coming on for a good part of the game if we're well in front. I'd like to see that happen, you know. But that's more or less what I got. I'd like to see us from now till the cup final play with more or less who he thinks is going to go, or the spine of the team he thinks is going to go. I think it's essential now. No messing around. I mean, I know that a lot of thought will come into the Livingston game, but we played on the patch long enough now. We should have a team that can sort that. It's in their mind up there at most of the time, in my opinion. It was definitely before Beale and that came in. I thought they got it out of their mind when they had a couple of good scores up there, but that last one up there, it looked a bit. But then again, there was the tactics of Gio and all that, wasn't there? So I don't know. We should be going. I know the terrible pitches. You shouldn't be playing on them. We shouldn't be in Scotland.
Yeah, let's get Sunday out the way before we're talking about next Saturday. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying from the team, the guys I want to see the spine in there that's ready to go into that League Cup final. That was the point I was making.
All right, mate. All right. I don't think he's alone in that thinking. Albert, is he?
What's that, mate? I missed that.
They keep the spine of the team in.
Aye, they'll not do it, but I think the team will be McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Davis, Barisic, midfielder, Kamara, Raskin. The three up front, along with Cholak, is Cantwell, Kent, and Tillman.
I see if he's going to play, but depending where he plays Cantwell, I don't want to see Cantwell playing in the right winger in that problem position, and I don't want to see Tillman playing out there much neither, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather see Sakala for his pace, or because that's the team I've gone with, just with what Albert said, Tav, Golson, Davies, Barisic. I've just gone with Raskin and Jack. But it could be Kamara, Cantwell, Tillman and Kent, and I've gone with Cholak up front. So where would you play Cantwell then, Ox?
I just want him to be in the middle so he gets on the ball as much as possible. I think if you put him to the right, he can't influence on the left, and I just want him to be on the ball as much as possible. What I've seen so far. What's that?
I get your rationale, but if you take the games that he's played so far, he doesn't stick to one position.
No,
he drifts from side to side and in the middle. He goes all over the place. He goes where he thinks the ball's going. So, I don't think it really matters where his so-called position is up on that front line. The guy drifts all over the place. As much as what Kent does, for me, Kent's better on the left, but he hasn't been staying there. So it might just be as you are saying, you are right. Kent would maybe be better staying on the left and let Cantwell drift a bit. You can't have the two of them drifting about because they are getting in one another's roads. For me, Cantwell's better getting that free roll because that's exactly what he's been doing.
All right. Albert, you were coming in there.
I think the three of them do it. Tillman does it. None of them stay in a position. They all move across that front line. I like that fluid, but I like the way they play it. They all move about. They're hard to pick up. That's the reason. The trouble is the wee through balls. The only one that's really getting the wee through ball is Cantwell. Again, Tillman sometimes does it, but it's mostly Cantwell that I've seen.
Oh, and Tillman did the pass of the game at the weekend to Tav.
Aye, but that's what Beale's wanting. He's wanting that kind of play. That's what it's all meant to be. But again, you need players running off it. It's like if you gave it up to Alfie and he's playing your 1-2, you need either the player that played the ball or another player to run off Alfie. That's no happening a lot. That only happens every now and again. It should happen a lot more.
Jaffa?
I mean, everything the guys are saying there, and that was the point I was going to make about Cantwell and the system that he's playing with the fluidity, with the three at the front. They don't really stick to a position. They're interchanging. The only time that they actually stick to some kind of structure is when they're actually coming back the way, when we get turned over and they've got to pedal back. That's the only time that I think you see Tillman hanging in the right, and you'll see Cantwell and Kent, or Cantwell in the middle and Kent in the left. But on an attacking, when the ball moves beyond the halfway line, the three of them are all over the place, and that's, you're right. That's what's so intriguing about it, and that we've been needing that. We've been needing that vision. But going back to the Raskin point, he's the guy for me that I'm most excited to see as well, because his game's all about the high press. He's all about pushing the forward line up so that they can get into the press, and also it's the fact that he's a really brilliant passer. That's what strength of his game. Yeah. You know, and he also brings fire. Ox. He's quite fiery and he's pushy. And I think again, if we're going to get that for the sitting two position, where we're going to get him pushing onto the press, I think again from a defending point of view, that's one of the things that we've really slowed down on, is the actual defending for the front. I know it's dead easy to say, but everybody's got to be on board.
Against Hearts, we were on it, mate.
Well, we're brilliant. Lundstrom was great at that, Ox, you're right. That was why we got the result we got.
Mm-hmm. See, the Raskin thing you mentioned, Jaffa, see when you get the YouTube bit that you see with the, you know, their greatest hits, if you like, you know, you see it. What surprised me was the amount of headers he scored. It was he arrived in the box and he was scoring headers. That really shocked me.
But like again, I think that's one of the reasons why we've signed him, Ox, is because he's coming for that sitting position, so he's hard to pick up. And the fact that we've got the front three guy, the front three we've just mentioned, talking Tillman, Cantwell, and Kent, who are in this fluidity situation, but we've got Raskin coming in behind him as well, which is another great, you know, it's a great quality to have in your team. He's his range of passing, Ox. Raskin sees a pass and he's great at switching the ball, but he's also great at punching the ball through. So from that point, you know, I think I'm excited to see that in operation with Cantwell, because Cantwell's got great vision, and he's, as I said earlier on, the way he draws teams players in, I love that in a player, because he's got super confidence that he can work his way out it, whether he draws the players in and he gets a foul out of it, or he draws a player in and he just skins them. And in the few occasions I've seen Cantwell, he looks super confident on the ball, and he looks really fit, I have to say as well. So great moving forward.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah. It's people coming back, Hadji coming back, maybe Suter coming back, Cholak coming back. I think he'll definitely be better if he gets maybe 60 minutes under his belt, Linda Cholak. Yeah.
He's just looking off at Ox, isn't he? And it's not surprising, because he's missed a lot of games after his brilliant start. I personally think he should start on Sunday from the beginning rather than coming off the bench. But you never know what Beale will do. It's a really nice problem for Beale to have now, and he's going to earn his crust now, isn't he? Because when he first came in, he didn't have a lot to choose from. But now he's got all these different options. You know, it's going to be a bit of a test for him to make sure he gets his team selection right. It was interesting at the weekend that we were all looking for all these attacking players to be on the park, but it actually upset the balance a wee bit, Ox, didn't it? You know, and he actually admitted that he might have got it wrong. So you've got to make sure that you've got that balance, I suppose.
But the balance would have been right if you put the ball in the net.
I suppose, yeah.
Definitely. And it's one thing is, well, like to myself for certain, I'm excited because of the midfield. I've said it since the start of the season. I wanted to see guys bottom in there dominating. But when you've got that, and I think we will have that, the amount of balls going across the box, and if players are moving, like i.e. Cantwell, Kent, if you've got them drifting about all over the place, and even we're asking pushing forward, Ox, the one thing you've got to have, when they balls are going near that box, your striker's got to be in there. He's got to be on the end of them. And they hurt me healthy. But Cole had started like a house on fire. In fact, if anything, we said that he still wasn't getting enough balls into the box, and yet his numbers were getting up. So for me, with these guys, especially Cantwell bursting forward, Kent, etc., with these guys making the runs into the box and Tillman as well, you've got to have a guy in that box that's going to put the balls away. And Albert's right in that sense. The one area we're badly lacking, despite the fact that we've won games, we're not scoring anywhere near enough goals. So we've got to get the numbers up. We have to. And if that big guy gets on his game, we know that he can put that ball in the net. And the same goes for Alfie, and the same goes for Ruth. That's for three strikers. Their numbers have got to come up now. They've got to push the button and say to themselves, right, that's it. To get into this side, when we get our chance, we've got to be putting that ball in the net. And it's like everything else, Ox. The one thing you've always said, despite the midfield and the defence, if you're scoring goals, you're winning games. And if you're scoring goals, you're relieving the rest of the team, i.e. our defence. You're scoring more than the other team. Our numbers up front have got to increase rapidly. They have to.
I'm a great believer, Andy. If you get the second and the third goal, I mean, you know, you're still in a game at 2-0 down because it's the next goal, isn't it? 2-1, 3-0. That's the big changing point in most games, yeah.
Yeah, well, you start to express yourself better, and your confidence is up. So you try a couple of little things. I know usually when you're 2 or 3 up like that, you try an odd thing and it comes off. It's going to be one of your days. The call-it one's a no-brainer for me, because you got to look at, did great, started, scored the goals, then he had a dry spell for about 8 games before his injury. He looks nowhere near fit, but I would have him starting there, because strikers are strikers, aren't they? He gets one goal, it might set him off. If he could get himself in the game, get a good 70 minutes under his belt, get a couple of goals, that'll take a wee bit of pressure off him, because that'll be, although he's had the injury, that'll be playing on his mind as well. He didn't score for 8 games before he took the injury, so you need to give him some minutes there to see whether he can get back, back in the scoring trail, and off he goes. Cause that's what they like. They might not score for a while, but then they score and then they go on that other run. So it's a no-brainer. He has to start Collett. We know what Morales can or can't do. So let Collett get in there and get a few minutes inside him. We might need him in the League Cup final. At some stage of the game, we might need him. So let's get him on there, and hopefully he gets a couple of goals, and then he's off and running again. Starts feeling good about himself, and then that'll be good for Rangers as well going forward, wouldn't it?
Is it a full house for us on Sunday? We would start, Joe, yes or no, Linda? Is it?
Yes.
Jaffa?
Yes.
Andy?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Blue Star?
Definitely, yep.
Albert?
Yep.
Full house. Well, Jaffa, that's unusual, isn't it?
I think we all know the qualities of Big Joe can bring to the team, though, Ox. And I agree with what Linda said there earlier. I think getting him on for the start's quite critical. I don't think he's the kind of guy, for the few times I've seen him coming on, I don't think he's great at impacting the game, unlike some of the other players we've got. I think Joe's got to get on and that, but he always usually starts quite quick. So if he's anywhere near close to full match fitness, Ox, I would have him in the team. I agree with the guys, what they've been saying there. I mean, at the weekend there, we made ample amount of chances. We're just not putting the ball in the net, and that's been the story of the season, to be perfectly honest with you. Alfie had a couple of really brilliant chances at the weekend, and he should be busting the net with him. Big Joe, if they land to him, I think 9 times out of 10 those balls are in the back of the net.
Aye, it's unusual for us all to agree, but we'll see. That means Alfie's starting, Linda.
Probably Ox.
Kent, I don't hear him. There's not many people had them in the starting 11, Linda.
Kent, did you say Kent, Ox?
Aye.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think Ryan's in a good vein of form just now, isn't he? He's another one that probably will be disappointed. He's maybe not scored another couple of goals as well, Ox. But seemed to be linking up quite well with Cantwell. He's got a good understanding with Tillman as well. And I just think that Ryan Kent has definitely, his performances have gone up a few notches since Michael Beale came in. and who knows what's going to happen going forward. But I would still like Kent to chip in with a few more goals as well, Ox.
I thought he was excellent against Hearts and wasn't great against Ross County. Too deep for me. Blue Star, Ben Albert.
Yeah, without a doubt, Ox, he was far too deep against Ross County. You seen the difference with the very one time against Hearts, he took that ball off. I think it was Borna, went up the left, and crossed a perfect ball in. That's what you need Kent to do. Take that full back on. This carry on it. They would keep giving him credit for that. He's getting a free roll. He's getting a free roll. But you look at the difference on Saturday between him and Cantwell. It was flipping night and day. Cantwell's just in the team. He's not even match fit. He basically ran the show for me. Kent was certainly running about. I'm not saying he's not trying. I've never said that. It's just his numbers are diabolical. They really are. Certainly that he crashed that one off the bar. But he's got, if he's out in that wing, for me, I'll say it again, for me, he's far more effective on the left if he's taking that full back on. And if you've got your hitmen in the middle, that's what they're looking for. And look at the balls at Bournemouth. We've hardly mentioned him. Look at the balls Bournemouth put across that box on Saturday. It was absolutely phenomenal. A decent striker in there would have had a barrel load. They really would have. The balls that he was putting into that box were fantastic. So all credit to him and all. He knows that the wee guy's coming back at his tail end, wee Yilmaz. So I all credit to Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth put his numbers up. As I say, the balls he was flashing across the box were absolutely fantastic for a striker. So as long as they're getting pushed now because they know there's players there to take care of their position, their numbers have to go up. So it's only good for Glasgow Rangers, and that's what we all want to see. We just want to see a winning team. Yes, we're getting by in games, but we need to score a lot more goals, guys. We need to.
Goals change games. I'm a great believer in that, Jaffa.
100% Ox. Goals do change games. And you can't put enough emphasis on that. How it changes the fans, it changes the stadium. The second goal going in, the third goal going in, the confidence just surges through the team, especially from an attacking point of view. And I agree with what Blue Star was saying there. The amount of balls that Borna put into the box, I mean, absolute killer balls, just waiting to go and be put into the back of the net for a whole variety of different positions. We're not executing them, and we're just not grabbing those opportunities, Ox. And that's why we're struggling on with games and winning 2-1 against Ross County at home. We all due respect, and it should be 3-4, probably 5-1.
Aye, we'll see where it takes us. Star, I think with Kent, if he just goes to outside left and goes there, he's easily snuffed out again. I think he's going to have the facility to mix and match his game.
I take your point, but at the same time, has it not been a case of, up until recently, being unfair on the guy? And I know Linda said this in the past, because I remember us speaking about it one night. The very fact, I think he's felt sometimes that he has been under pressure. We all think because he's a £7 million player in our squad, they get relying on him to create this bit of magic all the time. And that's all fair and well. Yes, sometimes you are. But at the same time, you've got Cantwell on the other side. You've got wee Sakala on the other side. They're drifting all over the park. So maybe Kent would be better sticking to the left now and drifting inside if he has to, because you've got these other players keeping the defenders occupied now. Whereas before that, you weren't getting that, Ox. We were only seeing Sakala now and again. Let's be truthful. It's only the last number of games he's been playing. So more or less we were depending on Kent and Borna firing all the balls in for the left-hand side most of the time. But now you've got potency coming through the middle and for the right. So these defenders are all over the park. It's creating space for other players. So my opinion is he's still better on the left. He definitely is.
Andy?
So I don't know about him being a £7 million player, right enough. He's slightly improved, but on his performances all season, that's not a hard thing to do. He's got something, hasn't he? But I don't know. I mean, I think Campbell will eventually take his place. I don't think he'll stay. I think he'll be away at the end of the season. But what we've got to do is get him to play what he can play, like when he played in Europe against the Germans and all that. You know, he's at a great club there. He should be really thinking about this. You know, he's got right age to really come on. And, you know, we keep saying that Scottish football's gash. Well, at the end of the day, if it's that bad, then Kent, a player of his so-called quality, should be rattling it up there. And I know that there's 10 behind the ball and get stuck in, and every game somebody has a go at him. But he's been around long enough now to do some damage. And his goal, like you said, he needs to start scoring more goals, because he can score a goal. I mean, he was unlucky with that one that hit the bar, you know. But I never heard him. I don't think he's a £7 million player. Bristol City and the Liverpool fans and all that, they don't speak highly of him at all, you know. So, you know, but we've got him. We've got to get a tune out of him, and a bloody good tune, you know. I mean, there's a League Cup final coming up here. I want to see him dominate. He usually plays well against them, so you never know. It might just be his day, and there where he goes and creates havoc. Bonner, yeah, he's doing well with the crosses, but his defending is, you know what I mean, that's his problem, isn't it? That's his Achilles heel.
Jaffa, pass me the smelling salts, please. There's a couple of players Andy doesn't like.
Come on, Linda, help me out here. I just try to be honest.
I think in Andy's defence, Ox, I think you know, Ryan Kent. Yeah, he's a great player. We know he's a great player. Like a lot of wingers, he's inconsistent, isn't he? But he's also when periods he's been off it. I don't know if Ryan Kent gets a move to the EPL if he wants to leave Glasgow Rangers. I don't know who would take a gamble on him and pay him, you know, the huge sums of money it goes about down there. I think the more likely destination for Ryan Kent's probably the English Championship. And if that's where he sees himself playing football, even if he is getting a bit more money than playing at Glasgow Rangers in front of 50,000 every week and getting into Europe, you know, it's a bit like the Connor Golson situation. These guys, a lot of them, they listen to their agents, they tell them the grass is green on the other side, and then they find out it's royal blue. So it's up to them.
I do agree with Andy. I never thought I'd say this, Albert, but he has got to improve.
Actually, Ox, if you listen back to a few of the shows, you've agreed with me quite a lot of times.
Yeah, well, but then Fox makes me get drug tested in the morning.
He goes to HR.
For all Alfie has been taking a bar, and nobody's battered him more than myself. I'm being truthful. I don't hide the fact. I want the wee guy to go. But what I would say on that is, it cost us the best part of £1 million. We've had a great return for Alfie over the years. If you put that in perspective with the $7 million that we paid for Kent, Andy's right, and I don't think any of us can argue the point. Yes, he had great games against Dortmund, etc., but for the money that we paid for him over the years, we've not had anything like a return, that level of return for him, Ox. Nothing like it.
It depends. If you look at it in pound shillings and pence, it's basically got your money back against Dortmund, getting you through that time, ultimately getting you that final. But consistency, I tend to agree with you, Albert.
What I've noticed with him, and Beale said it the other day, is see if you give him a specific job, it's a different player altogether. See against Celtic, when Gerrard were there, they pushed him up. That's what Gerrard said and Beale said. They pushed him up onto Brown and McGregor, and that's when he's having outstanding games. And against Hearts, they pushed him up onto Snodgrass, and they had an out. See if you gave him a specific job today up front, what you want him to be playing, who you want him to be running about. Different player. Maybe he's needing a bit of guidance, the boy, because Southside keeps saying it. He just runs across the park. If you don't give him any guidance, he just runs across the park all the time, no doing anything. So if you go, I think now he's a type of player you need to say, I want you to play up against him and let him go on. When he does it, when they tell him to do these things, he's a different player altogether. So the days of sticking him out in the wing and he's a winger and that, they're done for the boy. The boy's he's more a player than just a winger. He's got something else in his game and we need to coax it out of him. But I don't think he'll be here next year. I don't think he will. I think he'll be away. But I like to see him on Saturday, push him up against a particular player. Let's see if he's playing on Saturday and against Livingston as well. Push him up, make him go and play against a particular player, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I'm going to ask you, it's a yes or a no answer, but I don't want your thoughts. I want to know whether you think Ryan Kent will still be playing for Rangers next August. Yeah, know your thoughts, what you think will happen. Linda?
Yes.
Jaffa?
Yes.
Andy?
No.
Star?
No.
Albert?
No.
So you don't think he's going to sign, or do you think, yeah?
I think the contract's been taken off the table. This is a hard decision that Beale needs to make. This is what I'm talking about.
That's different, but I heard they got the pen out, Albert, complete opposite for that.
Yeah, no, I'd be disappointed if he signed, put it that way.
You didn't answer the question. You answered your question, yeah. You don't. I never asked you that. I'll ask a different question then. Would you keep him personally? Yes or no? Linda?
No.
Your name's no Linda. Linda?
No.
It used to be.
No, so you're different. You're actually listening to the questions, Linda. Well done. Jaffa?
No.
Andy? I know you're a yes.
No chance.
Albert?
No.
Star?
Definitely not. Ox, I said no, the first one, simply because of what our chairman said at the AGM when he revealed that they wanted in excess of 40 grand, him and Alfie, and he said that wasn't on the table. So I'm basing it on that. If they want an increase, they aren't getting it.
Right. Maybe the trouble is, mate, that people have to knock the door down the way their agents had told them at the time. Life's funny, Jaffa.
I think that's exactly what's happened, and that's clearly what happened with Connor Golson, Ox, and that's my point precisely. I don't see Ryan Kent. I don't see an EPL team currently. Not even Southampton buying Ryan Kent. The best he's going to get is going to be a championship team, and that's not where he'll want to play his football, Ox. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But to answer both your questions, do I think he'll be here next year? I do. Aye. Because I think he'll realise that he's going to have to take the offer that's on the table. If there is still an offer on the table, which, like you, I believe there is an offer on the table for him. But it's not the kind of money that Ryan Kent's not even currently on just now.
I'd be interested how you see it, Paul. Everything's about pound, shillings and pences, Linda.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw a list of the Rangers players' salaries, and I think Ryan Kent's currently on about 18 grand a week.
We don't discuss people's salaries on here. I wouldn't discuss your wages on here, would I?
Well, that would be peanuts then. So I don't know what he's
£7
looking for.
million player. Well, 4 years ago, that wouldn't be far away for the mark, would it? Roughly 20 grand a week. That would be fair. All fair, wouldn't it?
I actually thought he was on there, to be honest with you. I thought he was close to the 25-30.
So did I, Albert. I was surprised when I saw that.
Remember when he signed the contract 2018, mate, you know, people have come in as things have developed, yeah, and he's no did renewal.
Ox, do you think the two of them will be here next year?
If you were asking me to predict, I would say there's more chance of the centre forward than here, out the two of them, mate.
Do you, aye?
Aye.
No, not a chance.
Jaffa?
I think he's already made his mind up, and Alfie, I honestly do.
Do you think about the two of them signed off?
One at a time, boys, one at a time. It's no difficult. I know it's your first time on the show, both of you. Jaffa?
I think you'll get one out of the two. There you go. I think the most likely is probably Kent if they can re-sign him, because I think they'll see that there's a value in Kent if they sell him on again. I'm not so sure about Alfie. I'll be honest with you. I'm not so sure that Alfie's up for wanting to stay more in Glasgow as well. I think if Alfie gets a reasonable offer, I think he'll be off ski.
I mean, might be a message for God coming soon. Albert, you were coming in there, mate?
Do you think it'd be a good thing for the club if they signed the two of them? I think it would show a lack of ambition
That's a whole different question, mate. You know, and I've only got one thing to say on it. If Michael Beale wants them and he thinks they're going to make us better, I'm all right with that. If you're backing him to build his own team, if it's his choice and he's selecting them, Linda.
Yeah, and I think he definitely wants Kent. You know, you just get that impression when he's asked about him, and he seems to be fairly honest. I think the jury is still out on Alfie. I don't know who it was that said that. I would say out of the two of them that it's actually Kent that he would like to keep. I think it's probably time for Alfie to move on, Ox. I just think, you know, it's thanks for your service, but we've had our money's worth. But we also need to replace him. That's the issue. But I just think it's maybe time for us to move on from Alfie.
Aye, listen, I get it. You've got to move on all the time. You've got to develop. Players come and go all the time, and there.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said there, right enough. If Beale wants him and he manages to get them to sign, then you back them because they're playing in that jumper he has and that jersey, you know, that badge. But personally myself, I would lose no sleep at all if the two of them went. I think it's time to build again. They've been there long enough now and they've not really, apart from Europe, they've not really impacted or brought, you know, what we wanted them to bring. So you have to freshen it up, and as you keep saying, better never stops. And I think we can get better in them too. I really do. Where we find them for, but there is better players out in them. Morales wants away. I think he's definitely wanting to try his luck somewhere else, right enough. But it'll be interesting to see what happens when he does go and who he goes to. You know, but if they stay, Beale signs them, then you back them, and then we go again, don't we, with them, you know. But we'll see. Time will tell. Let's get this season done here. We can still win. We could still achieve a lot here. You know, I mean, I know it's not the big one, the league, but we're never getting that in. But, you know, we can win 2 cups and give him a few doings. That's the start to go next season, isn't it? In my opinion, anyway.
Listen, let's go on this run and keep this run going. You know, we know what the next 2 games is. There's no reason why we can't win it. Then you've got a game. We'll go into that. I think we can win, but there's no reason why we can't keep this good run going. Albert?
There's no reason we can't keep it going. I mean, it's usual, and we want these changes and things like that. We get that was when we're going to the run's going to come to an end. It's one of the ones that you've got a good thing going, don't interrupt it type thing, no. But it's difficult. Aye. I'm happy. I'm happy to do that we're getting the results. And I'm not happy the last 10 minutes of games. That's all I can say about it.
It's just rewinding just a wee bit there, if you don't mind, just about what Andy was saying about Morelos and on the whole Alfredo Morelos situation. Obviously, we were after the boy. I mean, one thing I was going to say initially was on both of them. You look at the wages that the two of them are on, and whatever that is, it is right. That's their wages. Let's be honest. They're well paid. They're highly well. You know, they're highly paid at our club. They're in the top 5 or 8 players. And you've got to look at, can that money be what can it be utilised better for better quality than what we currently have? And if you look at what we've just come out of there in that transfer window, we went after the young lad at Swansea. He won't be getting anything close to, or offered getting anything close to what Morelos was on. And what you don't know is he better than Morelos? Is he a better player? Well, you would never know that until you see him in a blue jersey. But I guess that should be some form of indication to both Morelos and Kent that the club will always move forward. And if there was an offer on the table to them, then the two of them have to be careful what they're doing, because it could end up with nothing. they could end up with no offer, or if the offer they do get, they'll get a club. Of course, they'll always get a club, but will it be anywhere close to the kind of level of football that they're getting at Glasgow Rangers? And listen, we've over the years, we're all dyed in the wool Rangers supporters. We've heard so many players that have come through our club, and the minute they walk out the door, they're filled with nothing but regret, because it just doesn't get any better than playing for a club our size, and that has to be worth something. There's a value in that. And I think these young guys and their agents, sometimes I think it's the agents that plant all the information in their head. I mean, who in the case of Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Kent, where are they going to get football at this stature? I don't think they're getting it. I'm sorry, outside Edmondson Drive.
Ox, on that, can we all imagine? Well, we can, because we've been there. But see if we win that cup in a fortnight's time, Ox, see the euphoria that in itself brings right round our whole club, our fans, our support, our board, the whole club. It's absolutely humongous. It puts doubts into their mind then, and the pressure that would be on them then, and our club would carry on, we'd be on the up. That cup is absolutely massive in a fortnight. I genuinely believe that. And even on the two players, Ox, see if we win that cup, and we're led to believe he certainly definitely wants Kent to stay. Can you imagine it? I know Jaffa's right. Where are they going to go if no big massive clubs are coming in for them? Because there isn't any massive more than Rangers. They get into obscurity when they're going right down the divisions or away to the other side of the world or whatever. But if you win that cup and then the club's bouncing again, there's every chance that the two of them will want to blinking well carry on. So, I honestly, I think for this time, and especially for our manager too, this cup is absolutely monumental in 2 weeks' time, Ox. Honestly, it would bring so much euphoria, good feeling and everything to the whole club. It would be unreal.
That'll be interesting. You know what I mean? If we can win this cup, cheer your good self and Andy up, that would be a minor miracle. Jaffa?
Oh, I tell you, winning the cup would be great, Ox. I'm already starting to think about it myself. I was thinking about it over the weekend there, but we've got some football to play first. We need to dispose of Thistle, and we need to get another 3 points through in Edinburgh. One game at a time, as the record says, or one day at a time.
Listen, Albert, just before we go, mate, if we play, we win that final. We beat them every time, but we've got to play.
That's it, mate. That's exactly it. And this is the problem we've got at times. We just don't know when we're going to play. Look at the Hearts game, for example. Superb, absolutely superb. You're going up. To me, that was the best, one of the best anyway, of the season. And then you look at the Livingston game. I know it's two different teams, two different styles, but the pace wasn't in it. This game on Saturday will tell you you need to start off quick, really quick, and you need to keep that pace all the way to the final. Keep it up, keep that pace into the team, and I think we'll be fine. But you're right, if we play, we win.
Well, gentlemen and Linda, we've reached that time of the evening. Last word for your good self, Andy.
Pleasure being on me again. Great points tonight. Good show. Every night's a good show, right enough. But
cheers,
some
mate.
Good points on that,
Cheers, mate. Your opinions are valid, mate. I
don't believe you.
Oh, no.
They're no good, mate. You see, they're no good, but they're valid.
I know.
I was being polite.
Thanks for having us on, Ox. Onwards and upwards.
Cheers, Bucket. Albert.
Thanks for having me on, mate. But I know I'm a substitute. Good to get minutes in my legs, know what I mean?
Clout, you're called. Jaffa.
Thanks for having us, Ox. Always love being on Rangers Radio, and thanks to all the listeners out there that tune in. And we are the people.
Yeah. Linda.
Yeah, great show tonight again, Ox. Enjoyed being on with Jaffa and the super sub Albert and your good self. Just the weekend on Sunday, get us through, Rangers. If it's a good performance, even better, but just get us through to the next round.
Here. We've been thanks to Albert, thanks to Blue Star and Andy. Jaffa and Linda for doing the show. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back between 8 and 10 tomorrow night, talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, Old School Blue.
Sure, I was dreaming of old Ibrox, of her slopes and great grandstands, and I dreamed about the Rangers, the best team in the land. When my memory suggested of a vision bright and clear, of the strange things that would happen if we had the Rangers here. Now if the road to Ibrox Park way up the Shankill, and Brian Loudrup came from Sandy Road, and Alistair Toyce came from East Belfast, and old Belfast became then old Glasgow. If the Rangers met the Celtic up at Windsor, sure no green flags at that game they would appear. Ulster's sons would never roll, and all the boys would stay at home if we only had the Rangers over here. I dreamed about her Ulster men who wore the shirt of blue, Bertie Manderton, Sam English, Norrie Hamilton, McCandless too. I have dreamed of Whitey McDonald, who came from Lisburn town, and the greatest Billy Simpson, who never let them down. Now if the road to Ibrox Park way up the Shankill, and Brian Loudrup came from Sandy Road, and Ali McCoyce came from East Belfast, and then old Belfast became old Glasgow. If the Rangers met the Celtic up at Windsor, then no green flags at that game they would appear. Ulster's sons would never roam, all the boys would stay at home if we only had the Rangers over here. If we only had Glasgow Rangers over here.